Hi guys, I'm Shmee. Hello, welcome back to the channel and a very Merry Christmas to you wherever you may be in the world. I hope you are having or have had a fantastic day. For me, today is quite literally driving home for Christmas. It is Christmas Day. I'm here in the Eiffel Mountains at Apex Nurburg beside the Nurburgring, reunited for the first time in about 2 months with my SLS AMG Black Series, ready to take it back to the UK. I think this is probably the first time in my life that I have ever driven on Christmas Day, and today I have about a 400 or 500 mile, 700 or 800 kilometer journey from here in Germany over to Belgium, France, across to the UK. Of course, it's a little bit complicated with the current travel regulations, but I think all should be set and ready to get this back to the Shmuseum. I haven't even been there myself for about a month. Needless to say, I cannot wait to get back. But first is going to come the little challenge to load up all of the luggage, and safe to say I have a fair amount of luggage with me and not exactly the most practical car in the world. So that's challenge one. Then we're going to have a very cold startup. It is freezing here in the Nurburgring area at the moment, and then it's a long old slog, quite literally, to drive home for Christmas. Well, I have managed to get everything loaded up into the car. The boot of the SLS, as I said, is not the most spacious in the world, but you can just about squeeze a couple of cases and a soft bag. Managed to get those in. We also, by the way, have Pancake chilling over there on the grass. But inside the car, I've had to put everything else, open up those lovely gull-wing doors, and we've got some bags and a cardboard box in the passenger seat. Good thing I am travelling solo today, but with 31,000 kilometres now on the clock of this SLS Black Series, I should hop on board and we can have a lovely cold start in just a moment. Right, back in here, left-hand drive, so it's going to sound amazing in a second, and then I will have the amazing sound system to blast some Christmas tunes. So press of the button. Yes. Oh, that's not good. I think that is a sensor that needs to be fixed. Oh well, the life of having a slightly older car, hey? Sounds amazing. We'll let it warm up just for a moment because, as you can see, it is only 3.5 degrees Celsius. It is very, very cold. And then I will get my music set, get ready for the road, and long journey ahead. Despite having had the engine running for a short while, it is still showing completely cold on the temperature there on the right hand side below the revs, but let me get these doors closed down. Of course, this car has been here in Germany since the Black Series tour. We came over with the GT, the SLS, the C, and also the G63. At the end of that trip, we left the GT Black Series at Opus to do some upgrades. This stayed there as well, and we took the G and the C home via Spa on the way back to the UK. Obviously, I came back out to collect the GT, which is ridiculous and is out in Dubai, where I actually packed for this trip. I went from the UK a month ago out to Dubai. I came back to Germany for something that we arranged in Munich, and I've ended up not going home. So I've come to pick this car up because although there are still a few more things that need to be done at Opus, I don't like to leave cars sitting for so long. It's been about 2 months. I want to drive it back. I need to get back. Given I'm in the area, it makes sense to take the car, and then we'll get it serviced as well. It needs an annual service, which could actually be done here, but I want to do it for the stamps back in the UK, and then we'll drive at some point the car back out to get things finished up and obviously have a look now at that sensor and that pesky thing up front that needs replacing again, as it always does. Long story, if you've seen some of the videos, you know about that. For now though, I'm going to get everything set in terms of navigation, media, music, Christmas tunes, playlist, and get everything ready, get myself comfortable and a little bit warmer. It is now 4.5 degrees because it is a long old drive ahead, a drive I have done many times with many of the cars, including this one, but the first time I've done it going home for Christmas, which seems a little bit crazy to literally be driving home for Christmas on Christmas Day, but that's how these things have worked out this time. To make things nice and easy, we have Android Auto in here, so I've set this straight to where I'm headed. 7.5 hours, 660 kilometers, and Spotify at the ready. So I haven't driven this car, obviously, in a short while, but I think everything is on. Headlights are on auto. Always just do a little run over. Every time I get into one of my cars that I haven't driven for a while, I just take a moment to familiarize myself and get comfortable with it, to make sure I know what is what. I know that sounds a little bit silly, but I suppose it's a habit that comes from driving a lot of different press cars and things like that, just to make sure I know exactly what's going on. Obviously, it's been out in this pretty horrible weather, which I'm not the biggest fan of, but we will take it carefully, gently, and easily as we depart into the fog here in Nurburg. This is far from the best start that you could possibly have. Thankfully, we've got half a tank of fuel, so I don't need to worry about that for a while. I'm not sure what it's like trying to find fuel on Christmas, or if that's harder perhaps than normal. But we'll head out this way up towards the Nurburgring Boulevard. Obviously at the moment the track is far from open. The Nordschleife is completely closed for the winter. It always is, but this winter in particular, because they are doing a lot of resurfacing works. Now Misha has, over on his channel, talked a lot more about that and the re-tarmacking they've done on the Dottinger Höhe, the main straight, and some of the other sections, corners, things as well. Oh, someone's out for a walk of their dog on Christmas. It's taken off a few kilometers. Lovely. This is going to be such a gentle drive. I have a small section of Autobahn, but I can tell you if it's like this and this cold, now it says 3 degrees, it's going to be a very gentle chill, because I want to get safely with this car back today to Christmas. I would rather not have a total disaster and nightmare to have to resolve as we head past the boulevard. This car is going to be so filthy later. It is going to be horrifically grimy. I mean, cars are made to be driven, and this car's been driven a lot and will keep being driven a lot. It is not a garage queen, but still, it feels slightly, I don't know, against my inner, how do I describe it? I don't quite know, my inner desires to allow it to be like this. But we are now passing the Nurburgring sign on the boulevard. It is fairly deserted around here. It's not like being here at the 24-hour race weekend or something like that. The good news is I have some amazing roads to drive. I just don't want to understeer off a corner somewhere. So I guess for the moment, it's going to be about this pace. And then all the way through Belgium, across to France, Eurotunnel. Typical route, really. Not as slippy as I thought it might be. Plenty of very, very nice V8 grumble. 650 odd horsepower, 6.2 litre naturally aspirated V8. Just what we like in a car. I have to do it, don't I, as we go through a... There we go, traction lit up. You barely have to do anything with the revs. Let me put it back into automatic and chill mode. Right, it's a cruise from here. I think it's about 4.5 hours from here to the Eurotunnel check-in. And I think the trains are running today, but I don't quite know exactly what that's going to be like. So it's a bit of learning as we go. Well, I do know the trains are running today. I wouldn't be doing this if they weren't. And yeah, seeing where the wind takes me driving home for Christmas. And I know I've said that a few times as well, but it feels a bit, I don't know, surreal, cliche maybe, but hey, it's what we're doing. This is one of those times where if it was dry, clear, and not Christmas Day, this would be a spectacular road to drive. But with barriers, but still lots of twists and turns, and it being this slippery and greasy, I don't think chances can be taken. Just enjoy a little bit of the sound of this thing. Honestly, every time getting back in the SLS, it's one of my favourite cars. I make no secret about that. It was one of my favourite cars before I was lucky enough to purchase and buy my own SLS. Oh gosh, even there, that was slippy. That was very slippy. Don't know if you could quite see it on the video, but I'm genuinely petrified of kind of understeering off, so that's why I'm going quite so cautiously to both protect the car. There, even still, traction all over the place. This is completely, I mean, just not ideal conditions for driving. But I do like having Android Auto popping up that it's got a text message. Oh, that sounds so good. Yeah, it's so slippy. I mean, I just can't even. Okay, a little bit of an acceleration. Oh, those sounds on the shifts. This car is pure heaven. It's everything I love the most in a car. There's front mid-engine setup, kind of relaxed Grand Tourer. You can fit a load of stuff in if you want to do a drive like today, but on the other hand, it's just a beast if you drive it, let's say on the Nurburgring. And even it's just a cool car because it's so rare and special, and you know, that's part of what makes these things really exciting, the passion at the end of the day, and how exciting it is to see such a thing, to be able to drive such a thing. Very much permanent Shmuseum anyway. I'm going to take this quite easy because I want to make it all the way today, and yeah, let's catch up as we're crossing some borders. Technically, this is a stretch of Autobahn which is actually de-restricted, and it's a stretch that in the past I have driven various of the Shmuseums at 300 kilometers an hour or faster, but today, considering the fog and the particularly heavy rain, I'm backing it up a notch because we have a lovely CLA 45 shooting brake. Those are just cool. Those are really, really, really cool. Anyway, I'm taking it super easily, so easily that I'm getting overtaken by everything. Anyway, part of that is a topic some of you might be wondering about, which is to do with winter tyres. Now, I must confess, I do not have winter tyres on this car. I did actually buy a set of winter tyres that I hoped to get onto it in advance of today, but unfortunately, with the current situation, this has been logistically impossible. It has been completely impossible to get tyres to Germany, somebody to drive them, to get back with the rules. Germany actually bans you if you've been in the UK, or rather quarantines you mandatory if you've been in the UK, so I've been left without choice. On a personal level, I actually wanted to avoid getting on any planes that I don't need to right now because, of course, everybody knows what's going on. It's crazy times in terms of travel. So if I can be in a car on my own, that is much, much, much better. And thankfully it is 4 or 5 degrees, so it's not absolute madness. Obviously tyres, to be in their optimum, would like it to be warmer, but that comes down to how sensible you are with your right foot. If you keep your wits about you and you don't do anything silly, it's all completely fine. And I'd love to be going left lane, absolutely motoring down, but today it's going to be a chill day. It's going to be a get this car home safely, get me home safely, get everything back and get it back to the Shmuseum and parked up, because it's been away for far too long, and this whole rigmarole of everything right now, and don't get me wrong, I'm not complaining, but it's certainly complicated in terms of travel, in terms of getting home for Christmas, and I did not intend it to take until Christmas Day itself. There's a lot of people actually behind me right now on a mission, but the car in front is going even slower than I am. So yeah, like I said, it's a smooth, easy one. It's not a dramatic one. It's a get home safe for Christmas one. I'm not gonna lie, it is very cold, but first fuel stop, first probably of 2, the second when I get back to the UK for today. Yeah, I need to get back in the car, get onwards, keep this journey going, but very much enjoying being back at the wheel of the SLS Black Series. This thing looks so good. I had completely forgotten that this route actually brings me for this small little cut through at the bottom of the Netherlands. So we are now in NL, I think for like 20 kilometers, something like that, and then it's Belgium. And here, the daytime speed limit applies, so 100 kilometers an hour. Although I tell you what, this tarmac is clearly made more to absorb the rainfall, because it instantly feels a little bit more comfortable. Anyway, on to cruise control. No more than a few minutes later then, and crossing the bridge into Belgium, third country that I've been in on Christmas Day. Today, of course, we will have 5 countries. I have once in my life had a flight on Christmas Day, so I have done 2 countries on Christmas Day before, but certainly never 5, well, never 3, never 4, never 5. Anyway, at least it's drying up a little bit here. If you're familiar with some of my videos doing this drive backwards and forwards, I often say that it is impossible to drive the entire way across Belgium without one or the other, or a combination of rain and traffic. And of course today we've had some rain, but never did I think on Christmas Day I would be sitting in completely gridlocked traffic on the motorway. Now I know this is about the worst place. Those of you in Belgium always let me know that this is where there's always going to be traffic, if there's ever going to be traffic. But it's Christmas Day and there are a lot of people not going very far, which is a little bit grim, to be honest. The weather is, yeah, really unpleasant, and now I'm sitting in traffic and it looks like there's a lane closed ahead of me. The nav, and I'm always using Waze when I do a journey like this, does know about this, so no surprises. I think I might be in the wrong lane, right lane. I guess I'll find out in a second and try and sort it out. There was a Taycan Cross Turismo a moment ago as well in the traffic. Yes, I'm in the wrong lane. Kinda, maybe. What is happening here? This lane is actually closed. So we need to hop one more lane to the left. It did actually say earlier that that lane was closed. So the road signs are slightly wrong. Maybe there's been an accident or something. Anyway, it's Belgium. It's a traffic jam. It's not particularly exciting, and it's not ideal. Watch that very long bonnet. We're moving into this lane. It's not ideal for making swift progress. Thankfully, the rest of Belgium has been completely without drama, and I am now arriving at the border into France in just a second. Country number 4 of the day. There is immediately some roadworks at the border, but here we go, crossing over into France. We go the last half an hour or so from here to the Eurotunnel. This part is completely deserted. Very few people on the roads around here. It's actually quite interesting how that's changed. Anywhere near a city, it feels like everyone's going to visit places. And like I say, I've never gone away from home on Christmas Day, other than once way back when all I did was a taxi to the airport. So this is the first time I've really experienced this. Anyway, let's see how this is going to go and what funky regulations and things we have here at the border into France. Well, this is my exit. France has been completely deserted. Here I am at the Eurotunnel though, and I'm not sure how long it's going to be here today. In recent times, the queues have got really very long because of course all the extra document checks. Now you can submit it all online, which I've done for today. So things like your double vaccination certificate, your PCR test, your passenger locator form, and all of that fun stuff. But I wonder how many counters they'll actually have open. Now, as usual, I've booked a Flexi Plus because I wanted to be able to have the freedom of time of crossing. But I suspect that's probably closed. There are no cars in front of me. This is completely... I can see one car up there. We'll find out in a moment. I'll try and get to somewhere where I can stop after I've gone through all the customs and all of that. But obviously, camera's off for that fun part of the voyage. And yeah, some of the bumps. And let's see how it's going to go. Actually, most of the desks are open. That is a pleasant surprise. So let's see how long it's going to take to get through.
As expected, it is not exactly busy here. Straight through customs, both the French side and the British side. Now at the Flexi Plus Lounge, grab a few snacks, have a quick chill before going to board the next train. All nice and easy and very much on time. Just freezing cold, although there's something cool about seeing a car like this, a little bit dirty, having now driven quite a few miles today. The wheels in the new silver that we did remember at Whoops are looking stunning. And one other issue that I've noticed with the car, something we had spotted before, but I've noticed today as well, which is to do with the seal on the driver's door. It gets a little bit of water down here, which is clearly not good, so we need to have that investigated and work out exactly what's going on, just like with that oil pressure sensor that we saw earlier, which is something that went wrong with the car well, earlier this year. It was about 6 months ago, and I think that would just be a sensor that needs replacing again. Not too big a deal, but you always need to get these things checked, so we'll do that properly. But now it is very cold, so in a minute I'll head through, go get on the train.
This is all going super smoothly today. It is immediately straight into the train and boarding. I like how everybody's in the spirit of it. In we go, ready for, I'm not quite sure how many crossings this year, but something like 25, that kind of region. As usual, booked in the tall vehicles carriage to have a little bit more width, because a car like this is not exactly narrow, and I don't want to damage those lovely wheels. So we will drive on through and then out the other side into England. Jump ahead, and we have arrived. We are actually a little bit early, which is fabulous. So, out we go, back in the UK. Big thanks to the team here as always. I've put the car back into miles per hour, obviously. Miles on the dashboard. And I think, will I need to fill up before? No, I think I can probably do it as a nice gentle cruise from here back towards the M25 and around London. So, time to now drive a left-hand drive car on the left side of the road, which just always is very confusing and backwards, because I'm used to right-hand drive cars on the left and right-hand drive cars on the right and left-hand drive cars on the left. On the right, you get the point. Anyway, it's not too far from here, so out we go, back in England. And just like that, I am back at the Shmuseum. Now, things are slightly different than when I was last here, and all of those updates have been with Tom and Brad over on the Shmuseum channel. But you can see we have the majority of the cars currently along that side, because Tom was working on cleaning the floor, something very much needed after a couple of months here. He has recently had the GT8 out, which is absolutely filthy. I think there's something to come with that very shortly. And then at the back, where we have my stack of random wheels and tyres and different things nicely displayed, we also have these, the winter tyres, as I was saying earlier, that can be fit either to the SLS Black Series, or to the GTR Roadster, which is over there, or to the GT Black Series. This tyre size goes on all three of them. I'd have loved to have had those today. Thankfully, it wasn't snowing. If it had been snowing this morning, I would have not been going anywhere. That car would have been staying completely put. We also have Brad's Abarth in here at the moment. I think he's running around in the RS3, which would typically be right about there. It is quite funny and slightly confusing seeing my own cars under covers and not necessarily remembering which is parked where. Of course, you can see some flashes of colour. We've got the V8 Vantage Roadster here. We've got the 675 LT Spider. We've got the STO. Then we've got the GTR Roadster. We have got the GR Yaris. We've got the C Black, M3, G63, and the GT8 and the very camouflaged Clio. That's a little bit unfair on the Clio. We need to do something about that at some point with all the tools around it at the moment. And of course, the two cars from my friend that have been staying here at the moment, the Novatec 812 GTS and the lovely Gunther Works lies under there. But what a drive with the SLS. What a fantastic journey. This car is so truly epic. Another 400 miles under its belt today, touching on just shy of 20,000 miles now. I think the car had, I want to say, about 6,500 miles when I bought it. Obviously, that was nearly 2 years ago, but in that time, it's done a lot. It's a car that I really love and a car that I will not be letting go at any point. But today, my first driving home for Christmas, quite literally. I must now, in line with the UK regulations, isolate until I get the results of my test back, so that's going to be fun. But nonetheless, it's been a successful voyage, a successful journey, a surprisingly busy journey with this car out on the roads. That's probably been one of my biggest surprises of the day, if I can say, how many people have been out there. But this thing looks magnificent. It just now needs a full tank of fuel. It needs a complete clean and wash down. I will get it plugged into its CTEC smart charger, and then it's going to be going shortly for a service, for a check over of the sensor, as I mentioned, and the new part for the front. And yeah, outside of that, I need to get all of the luggage out and leave it be for the time being. One of my favorites, lovely to have it back. Of course, now without the GT Black Series, given that that is a good few thousand miles away over in Dubai at Cars Storage for the time being. But you might also notice there are some other cars missing here at the moment, namely the Senna and the Ford GT. More about that on the Shmuseum channel. But thank you very much for watching, guys. I hope you have had a very Merry Christmas, as I said, wherever in the world you might be today, and I'd like to wish you all a very happy New Year as well. Thank you as always for all of your support. It is truly appreciated. 2022 is shaping up to be pretty epic, but for today, that is all. Time for a rest. Thanks again, and I'll see you very soon. Merry Christmas. Cheers.